It says, my name is Zach, and I'm writing to gauge your opinion on what, to me, seems an unnecessary barrier for making golf accessible. Okay. I am a keen golfer, but quite infrequent, and I'm trying to play more often, especially as the game is something that my dad and my brothers also enjoy. They are all members of golf clubs, so one way we try to make sure to meet up is by organising family golf tournaments at each other's home courses. These are low stakes, it's meant to be very fun, and a great way to ensure we meet up on a regular basis. The next one is going to be at my dad's golf course, which is not very far from me, but quite a long way for one of my brothers, who's based in London, and one's based in Nottingham, etc. For various reasons, it isn't viable for him to bring his golf clubs down, so we're looking at options for providing him a set. So, my uncle and I, who are both playing the golf day, are both left-handed golfers. So the pool of available golf clubs to hire at courses close to us is very low. I emailed ahead at my dad's golf club, as well as 3 or 4 other golf clubs close to the location, and none of them had any left-handed golf clubs available. I therefore inquired as to whether any of these courses would be okay if we shared a set of clubs, since I can provide my own. So basically, get this, Rick. There's the guy who's going with his left-handed clubs. His uncle, who's also left-handed, is travelling up from London, but can't bring his golf clubs. So they said, well, let's just try and share. Unsurprisingly, all the golf clubs said, no, you can't share. I can understand why a golf club would not want you to share a set when playing a tournament, but why are clubs so inflexible about sharing a set if you've made inquiries about hiring clubs and been told, in this case, there's no left-handed available, ahead of time, and we're playing in a social event rather than competitive? On this occasion, we're going to split up my set into 2 halves and have 2 separate bags. So the guy that is local has got his left-handed clubs. He's got 2 bags, luckily. So we're going to put half in one bag, half in the other. Therefore, him and his uncle have got a half set of clubs each. This is only possible, though, because I have a spare bag. I'm in a somewhat privileged position, but not many new golfers have got, obviously, 2 golf bags. We have tried quite hard to seek out alternative options, so it's been quite disappointing to come against a lot of what feels like avoidable resistance. Very keen to hear your thoughts and to get a better understanding of why golf clubs are so reluctant to allow any exceptions to club sharing. Cheers, Zach.
A lot to unpack there. First off, Zach, thanks for listening to the podcast and being such a big fan.
Of you and Grant. Go and marry Grant. If Grant's so good.
There's been 284 episodes that we've done. Me and Grant have really worked.
What's Grant got better than me? Yeah, he's good at golf. Yeah, he's got amazing teeth and he's about 6'2" with a great golf swing.
He's not got eyebrows.
He's not got eyebrows. I've got 2.
He'd want your
yeah, I've got 2. I've got a spare one, if anything.
Let's first off unpack the reasons why golf courses don't like club sharing.
I know one. That's it.
Well, yeah, it's quite simple to save time.
Mm-hmm.
So if you had 2 of you out on the golf course and you were sharing 1 bag of golf clubs, if one of you went right, one of you went left, imagine the fact that you'd have to go over to the left with 1 bag and then go over to the right with the other. Certainly if you're walking. I think if you're in a golf cart, maybe it's a bit of an exception, but if you're walking, it can definitely slow down play. And it's just maybe just a bit untidy. Like, it's just a little bit messy when you've got people, certainly on the putting green, you hit a putt, then what have you got to do? Run over to your mate and give them the putter, and then they've got a putt.
And also, let me one up you. You're saying that in a 2-ball situation. Let's say a golf club said that was allowed. What if I come with a 4-ball and there's only 1 set of clubs? Correct. That time then gets times by 4.
So I think, if anything, that golf clubs are just trying to protect themselves. They're not trying to be funny with it. They don't, it's not like they're trying to sell you a set of golf clubs. I think it's just a fair rule to keep the speed of play to a consistent level, and it's not as messy where you're kind of chucking clubs to each other and swapping, etc., etc. So I think, to some degree, that's the reason why golf clubs do it. To go back to your point, I think you've done a really good job of just splitting the set. That was my instant reaction when you started talking about it. Just split the set. Your uncle has the evens. You have the odd clubs. Ideally, you could do with a couple of putters, but you can kind of get away around it.
Got a question for you, Rick. In this instance, Zach has got 2 golf bags.
Exactly.
If he had 1 golf bag but still split the set, do you think a golf club would have an issue with his uncle carrying 4 clubs in his hand?
Yeah.
They would.
Yeah. I think you'd need a bag.
I get that, but why, do you think?
I don't know. Maybe, again, it's that kind of image. Like, do you want people just kind of carrying a few clubs around? You did get that with a pitch and putt, but I've never seen it at a proper golf course.
You know what? Although I do actually agree with you, the image thing, is that something, again, where it's golf being snooty? Like we say, image. What is actually wrong with somebody carrying 5 clubs in the hand?
Don't know.
I agree with you, by the way. It does look weird, but then golf clubs is that not being accessible?
Yeah, possibly.
Could be a time thing as well, though. Because if you've got all the clubs in your hand, you're just walking around with them, you're going to have to keep picking them up and putting them back down.
That's minimal, surely.
I don't know. I don't know.
And then what else we got? The fact that clubs don't have left-handed clubs to hire, that's a bit of a shame. But to some degree, I can imagine that's quite common for a lot of places, really. What else was there? That's pretty much it.
Do you think then, a question for you, a bit broader, kind of expanding on this? I am definitely in favour of golf being as accessible as possible because I genuinely want more people to love golf because I feel like I somehow own a bit of golf because I played it all my life, even though I clearly don't. And I feel proud of
in golf.
3%, but it's not a lot. The dividends are great though. However, do you think, truthfully, hand on heart, we are a little bit snooty in ourselves? Like, to your point then about the bag, I agree with you. If you didn't have a golf bag, I wouldn't be super keen. But it doesn't really matter. And same like dress. If my local golf club said we're tomorrow dropping dress code, completely dropping it, would I literally like it if I saw people playing in a full football kit, for example?
But is that our fault, or has that been ingrained?
Oh, I'm not saying it's a fault of such. I'm just saying, are we actually deep down part of the problem that we don't even realise?
Is that not just a bit ingrained though, to some degree? I think that would take hundreds of years to get past.
Possibly would.
Because it's so ingrained in us.
But that's what I'm saying, though. So how do we...
But I can't wait to become a 70-year-old member.
And moan at people.
I can't wait.
You'd be like, take your hat off in the clubhouse. Say, hello, Mr. I'm not Rick, I'm Mr. Captain.
Can't wait.
Clicking some waitress clicking.
Oh, don't get on the waitress things again. Jesus, that's still a subject for some. Yeah, I don't know.
But this is the thing, isn't it? It's like I 80% I'm like, let's make golf more accessible, and 20% of me like, get this bloody cat on in the clubhouse, cheeky bastard. You know what we used to have at my golf club that I'm sure many do that was so weird, and it's gone now, I believe. A captain and lady captain's chair.
Yeah.
So underneath the board where all the captains were listed in like 8 years, obviously, or whatever, they had two big leather chairs that ironically the captains never sat in, because in a weird spot that we would never sit. You weren't allowed, you dare sit on them. You sometimes get, because above our golf club, the next level up was a restaurant that was obviously attached, it was part of it. And you'd get people who had nothing to do with golf coming to the restaurant for Sunday dinner, for birthdays, for whatever it might, christenings. And occasionally they'd come down to the clubhouse bit and get a drink before the meal or whatever. And they'd often not have the right attire on, and all the members would look at each other. And my mum would be part of this, but look, he's got bloody jeans on. See him, Linda, he's got jeans on. He's got jeans on. And then occasionally you'd get someone who, what a cheeky person would sit on the captain's chair. And the worst one as well of all, where you'd borderline get spat on, was when a visitor who was going for a meal upstairs would dare walk into the members' lounge.
Oh, really?
Oh, if they dared, it would all go quiet. It would go quiet. Yeah.
Is that the same person who parks in the captain's car park spot?
Oh, yeah.
Hey, John, there's a car park spot right out front here.
Yeah.
Straight in.
and then actually I've got one more that's even the worst of the worst. This is the absolute top one. You walk into the golf club, you're going from the meal upstairs. You've got jeans on, you've got a shirt untucked and trainers. That's 3 sins straight away. You then stroll into the members' lounge. Obviously, you're not a member. Another sin. The final nail in the coffin. You go onto a snooker table. You're not a member. How dare you be on the snooker table, which is in the members' lounge, and you don't put 20p in the light.
I just play
lightless. Play, yeah. You've literally then, you may as well get shot. The members are looking at you, whispering. You can feel the tension. You can cut it with a knife. But yeah, make golf more accessible.
I think lightless snooker table. That's
yeah. I mean, that's low,
that is awful.
I think there's two things here, right? There's a fun story I want to tell you in a minute, which will probably rile a lot of people up again. That's what I'm here for at the moment. The first one is there a little bit in us? And I'm not saying this is the right thing. Is there a little bit in us that thinks, yeah, but we've been through those hard days
of learning and
like we've been through you have to wear the right clothing, you have to take your hat off, you have to say Mr. Captain. Like
we've paid our dues.
But then is there a bit of resentment if that all gets dropped? It's like, well, the hell, we had to do that for the last 20 years.
I think
is there a bit of resentment?
I think you're right. I think if you were young, like again, we had similar experiences. I think there is. I think there definitely is a bit of that.
Where it feels like, and again, you know, you could even fast forward that to the grumpy 70-year-old is even thinking, bloody hell, even more resentment. Because remember, back in the day, certainly when we were younger, you as a junior, were you allowed to win men's competitions?
So we could only enter them if you're off single figures. That was the first
But there's
step.
rules, weren't there?
Yeah. And then you could win certain ones, but not others.
So going back, those rules were set by these 70-year-old members who, let's be honest, those 70-year-old members, when they were under 18, they couldn't be a member of that golf club.
No.
So it's almost like, is there this ongoing slight resentment that just keeps getting knocked on?
Yeah, there must be.
So I'll tell you this funny story. So was it this year? I played in Dan Walker and Danny Willett's golf day.
The two Dans.
The two Dans. Danny Willett from BBC, well, Channel 5 fame.
Is he?
Channel 5 News now.
Danny Willett, yeah.
Danny Walker. Dan Walker.
And he does Classic FM.
And then Dan Walker, the Masters champion.
And Danny Willett, the Masters champion. So I got invited to their golf day, and it was over in
Rotherham, wasn't it? Somewhere like that.
Somewhere like that, right? Beautiful golf course, actually. So I was driving in, and it was busy. Shotgun start, and it was busy. And lo and behold, I was running late, right? And it was at the time where my beautiful Mercedes car I drove over a nail.
I thought you said I'm a beautiful wife, but you went with the route of my beautiful Mercedes car.
I drove over a nail a couple of days before.
Yeah.
So the wonderful people at Mercedes had looked after me with a courtesy car. Now, you knew what that courtesy car was. It was a G-Class Mercedes in this kind of like amazing grey colour. So for you cool kids, a G-Wagon, right? So you got 38-year-old dad of three driving a G-Wagon into this golf day.
Acon bopping in the
and
back.
it's loud. Like, this car's loud, right? So I'm driving up the driveway, and it's a one-way, one-out driveway. And as I get to about halfway, a car rolled its window down. It was actually, ironically, a Tesla. Rolled its window down and said, "It's really, really busy. I know that the captain's away this week, parking his spot." Right? So I go, "Great, thanks for that advice. Appreciate that." So wind the window up. So I'm driving along, and there's literally, the car park is rammed. Like, people are parking everywhere. As I drive up, lo and behold, the captain's space is free. So I think, well, sod it. He told me that the captain's away this week. So I pull in my grey G-Wagon, with the music blaring, and it's loud. This car's loud. Straight into the captain's spot.
Did you not turn the music down at this point and we're still blaring?
A little bit blurry. I wanted to show people I'd arrived. So I parked into his captain's spot, not particularly very straight. Got out of my car. The evils I got. And actually the guilt I felt. I felt so guilty. I felt like I'd literally parked. I felt like I parked in a disabled spot.
But is that because you parked in the captain's spot, or is it because you come into a golf club car park with music blaring in a G-Wagon?
I wasn't. The music wasn't really blaring. No, the fact I've pulled into a captain's spot.
Yeah.
It felt like I was doing something really bad. You know me, I love parking on double yellow lines. That's like my little fetish. You know, sometimes I'll park in a kid's spot without a kid. No, I actually never do that. That's sacrilege. I know other people have
You
done
do say
that.
I do it occasionally.
No, I never
But
do
I've
it.
got a child seat in the car now, so I always think, if someone says to me, "Go and pick him daughter up, Tesco," done a shift.
I never, ever park in disabled spots, ever. But this felt like, I literally drove in it, and I felt like I'm doing something
What if
really
the captain is
wrong
disabled?
here. Well, he wasn't there. He was on holiday. So I got out, and I'm getting my cat. And honestly, the looks of everyone was looking at me, and I'm thinking, I'm doing something really naughty here. So I left. I played in the golf day, this, that, and the other. And then after the golf day, I realised I was still parked in the captain's car parking spot, obviously. But I thought, I wonder how many people think the captain's well cool at this golf club. They're rocking a G-Wagon. So I think I actually did the captain a bit of street credit that week.
It is a strange concept, though, isn't it? The captain. Imagine going to the gym and walking in, there'd be some massive steakhead, something. That's Mr. President. You can't go on his bench press. That's the president's bench press. And he's got his own car parking space, the big Subaru Impreza in it. Can you imagine?
You know, there's a cool thing at golf club, St. Anne's Old Links. And each year they raffle off a parking spot.
Yes, I've
in the
heard.
raffle.
That's brilliant.
So you get your name pulled out.
I love that.
Whoever gets name pulled out has a parking spot for the whole year.
But that's, if that was 30 quid a head or 20 quid a head, whatever it might be, that's worth it, isn't it?
Yeah.
That little, getting that space for the year.
It's
Literally
so
money
good.
can't buy. Yeah.
Sorry, anyway.
I've had another email, Rick.